Yes, sir, you can start.
Okay, at the outset, I extend a very warm welcome to each one of you on this True Digital Venture X fortnightly call. It's like a broadcast that we have every fortnight. Let me introduce myself. I'm Major General Digvijay Setia, Sena Medal and Vishisht Seva Medal. I retired from the Army in December of 2018 after having put in 40 years of service. So I am a veteran with a lot of combat experience. Though I am a engineer by profession, I am an electrical engineer, and I worked a lot on the infrastructure development in the army. Besides, I was the Director General of Land. We hold a lot of land in the army. I think we are the largest landholder after the railways in India. So I have a lot of experience on land. Presently, I am a visiting faculty at the National Institute of Finance Management in Faridabad, which is run by the Ministry of Finance. I do go and take a few classes there. I luckily got, very fortunately got associated with Sanjeev after my retirement and got along with him in this true digital startup. It's an amazing journey. It's been really an amazing journey for me. I can tell you that we've, I also want to very proudly announce that we today have 257 startups on our platform. It's all great ideas, great technology. We get to meet young, dynamic, energetic people who, are looking at great businesses. Some of them are revenue earning, models. Some of them uh, are looking at, they just have some great ideas. But it's all technology, and the our endeavor is to whatever way we can help them with the funding. We've also, had great success. We are moving very positively in the direction of funding of some of our startups that who've been on our platform for some time now. I must say, it's very positive improvement in the last few months that we've had. Yeah, Sanjeev, you wanted to say something?
No, sir, I'm fine. We can introduce our
Okay.
guest.
Yeah. Today, we today's session, like the last one, we have the privilege of having two very distinguished personalities, who will be giving their advice or at least be a great motivation factor for the founders who are going to do their presentations here. We have Mr. Bandura Rath, a very seasoned banker, who is the Chief General Manager of State Bank of India, Ahmedabad Circle. He's risen up the ladder in the SBI, where he joined as a probationary officer in 1984. He's a certified associate of the Indian Institute of Bankers. In his checkered career, he has held various assignments in credit, human resources, and international banking. He's been the CEO of SBI in Bangladesh. He's also the member of the Institute of Directors, Delhi. He's been the general manager network. He's also been the chief general manager operations at the SBI Corporate Center in Mumbai. Mr. Rath, it's indeed an honor to have you with us on the call today, and it'll be very, very encouraging for the founders who are going to do their presentations, and also
Thank you
for
very much.
everyone who's tuned into the call today. I'm sure you're going to throw some great pearls of wisdom. We also
Thank you
have the
very much.
privilege of having Dr. Sheetal Nair, a human resources professional with experience in facilitating and training with organizations like Barclays, United Nations, Bentwood. He holds a doctorate in training and development from North Central University, Arizona. He's a MBA from Symbiosis International University and a diploma in corporate law from IIM Kolkata. He's also trained on comprehensive teaching and learning techniques from Harvard University. So, he has all the great educational qualifications. Besides that, he's a serial entrepreneur. He's the founder of DSSG Bespoke Solutions. He's also the co-founder of Satwa Foods, which is a food and beverage company. And he's also, you know, franchisee partner with T-Post, a fast-growing food startup which has almost 180 outlets spread around the country. He's also a very accomplished author. He has two published books, The Midas Touch and The Monk's Secret. He's also an author of great repute. I'll request, Mr. Rath and Dr. Nair to say a few words before I, introduce the founders who are going to do the presentations today. Mr. Rath.
Good evening, Mr. Digvijay, Sanjeev, and all the distinguished people who are, who are in the connected to the today's discussion. As I think Mr. Digvijay has been very generous in his introduction. I have nothing more to add. I am a career banker, as he has very rightly said. My total exposure in the banking industry is around 39 years. In fact, I started my career pretty early. Out of 39 years, 3 years were with Central Bank, General Insurance Corporation, and another bank. And 36 years I was with SBI. I have been privileged to get an opportunity to work in almost all the assignments that the bank could offer, both in India and also abroad. And my last assignment was in Ahmedabad, where I was heading Gujarat and 3 union territories with a balance sheet size of 2.4 lakh crore and also with a team strength of almost 14,000 in Gujarat. And in fact, immediately after my superannuation, I was with Government of Gujarat as Managing Director of Gujarat Venture Finance Limited for a period of 1 year. And let me share with you that Venture Finance Limited, Gujarat Venture Finance Limited, is the oldest venture finance company in the country. Both state and central sector taken together. That was a great learning opportunity for me, and we have supported good startups. And during the 1 year that I was with the government, and obviously whatever I have learned, in my professional journey, obviously I think I would like to share that with the people who would be making the presentations, and obviously who are also connected to today's discussion. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sanjeev, for inviting me to this session. Thank you.
May I request Dr. Sheetal Nair also to, may I have missed out on some of his great accomplishments.
That's really kind of you, sir. But thank you once again to Mr. Sanjeev Sinha for according me this opportunity to come and listen to the pitches. And thank you, Major General Setia sir, for a wonderful introduction. So you haven't missed anything. I think you've covered everything and more. Thank you for your really kind words. The thing is that I myself, once upon a time, probably 10 years ago, went across this entire rigmarole wherein I shared my story with Sinha sir that I also went across to VCs looking for fund. I made pitch decks. I've been doing that for the past 10 years, and today I'm a proud owner of an organization which employs 6,500 people across the country. So yes, I do know a bit about the ecosystem of startups. I have been involved heavily into this, and I would love to understand how young organizations or organizations who are entering this startup field, how they would like to evolve in this ecosystem. And yes, if at all I can be, my knowledge or my experiences can help them, I would love to be a part of this. So thank you once again for the opportunity. I'm sure it will be a mutual give and take here that's going to happen. Thank you.
Okay, we have, thank you so much, Mr. Rath and Dr. Nair. We have two startups. Again, as always, we have a wonderful, very wonderful people who are going to do the presentations today. First, we have Mr. Vijay Shiragupal, who is the Indian representative of Techno Carbon Technologies. They are into the manufacture of new generation materials, which will be, I understand, kind of substitutes for steel and concrete. These are low carbon natural materials, and this startup is in the clean technology space. We'll hear everything about this and the business model, more importantly, from Mr. Vijay himself. Second, we have Mr. Kevin, the founder and CEO of My Protection First. they have a platform called My Safe Place, which dwells into safety technology for breakdown-free world. Sounds very, very interesting, and we listen to the details from Mr. Kevin himself when he does the second presentation. Before we, start with the presentations of the founders, I just like to lay a few ground rules. Firstly, that we'll give about 20 minutes to each founder to do the presentation. I'll request everyone to put themselves on mute while the presentations are on. Secondly, we'll give some time after the presentations are over for question and answers. And I'll request that, anything that you want to ask the founders, it's best that you have a direct interaction with them now on the call. Otherwise, you can write a mail to us at ceo startup.com. Then we will forward your query to the founder and we will be able to get back to you. We have a lot of investors who keep quiet during the presentation. That's my experience of the last so many calls that we made. And then they maybe after some time they want to ask some intricacies of the business or the intricacies of the idea, then they connect with the founders directly. So don't, if after the presentation, if there are no question answers, there's nothing to get disheartened. Some people will approach you subsequently after the call today. Secondly, like Sanjeev said before we started the call, let me start the video recording. We've been doing it for the last two calls now. We record the call for two purposes. One is that we maintain a record of any commitments that are made. Secondly, we put it on the YouTube. You may have missed out some, again, intricate details of what the presenter has made. And besides that, we will also have to, if you want to revisit what the founder has said of this about the startup, you can go to the go and watch it on the YouTube. It's available in the past events on our website. I'm sorry, because I'm on a phone, the video gets disconnected whenever there's a call. And lastly, I would also like to say that we have opened up our program, which is the franchisee program, because we want to proliferate into the tier 2 and 3 cities. So we've had a great response for that. We've got a lot of inquiries and applications, forms that have come to Sanjeev. We will be sifting all those and we will be taking them ahead. This is, because we can't ourselves connect with the startups in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And a lot of great ideas are coming from these cities. So we have this franchisee program. The forms available on the website. If there's anyone who's interested, you can fill up the form and we will connect with you. So we can have the presentations now, Sanjeev, or would you like to say? I'll request Mr. Vijay from the TCT India to start the presentation. Sanjeev, would you like to say something before that?
No, sir, that was perfect. Vijay, you can start. All the best.
Yeah, Vijay. Mr. Vijay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. Let me start my presentation first and then explain what I'm expecting from somehow my Microsoft is not responding. Can I come in second, if you don't mind?
No, that is all right. Kevin, are you ready?
I'll just log off and log in back.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, we can have Kevin do the presentation first.
Sure. I've always seen that as good luck charm, so thanks to you, Vijay. Thanks for letting me do it first.
All the best, Kevin.
Thanks a lot, sir. All right, so let me just share my screen. Perfect. If I can just get a thumbs up from somebody to let me know that the screen is visible, then I think I should be able to. Thanks, Akshay. So good evening, everybody. I know this is the Friday of the day, but I see a lot of interesting faces here. So I'm just going to go with my spirit of explaining what we do at My and how we got here. Firstly, I have to give you a little story as to how the whole journey began for us. In 2020, March, when the pandemic happened, my partner and I, who's a friend of 25 years, we dabbled in selling PPE kits. Now, he got into the car and drove all the way from Coimbatore, which is the city that I live in, all the way up to Assam, covered 50,000 kilometers over 3 months, approaching state governments to sell PPE suits. Now, as fate would have it, we supplied 800,000 kits over a span of 6 months. And I was at the unit manufacturing all of it, designing new stuff. When people could not even get the products to the shelves, we were sending it across, dampening the effect of the pandemic. But at that point, it got us thinking that this is not a PPE problem. This is not a protection problem. This is a lifestyle issue. And to start, to go about this, we felt we had to create a story that was so compelling that would alter the consumer behavior over years to come. And that is how we gave birth to a brand called My. And every time you say it, you have a sense of ownership of the brand. Now, when we say safety tech, the concept of safety tech is not known in a country like India, and not only India, around the world. And those two wonderful people you see out in the picture out there, that's my wife and my son. One, I didn't have to spend on expensive models. They came free. And two, they would listen to everything we said and they put on a good show for us to get the pictures, right? So what was the problem we were really trying to address? I mean, we went through a major breakdown. And what caused the problem? And according to us, it is a lifestyle issue. Lifestyle caused this problem. And if it happened once, it's going to happen again. And then fool you once, you shouldn't be fooled twice. We're the same problem. We didn't learn from the Spanish flu. The Spanish flu happened in a time where we were not so connected as we are right now. We're talking about 70, 80 years back, and a flight to another country is going to bring about goodness and badness. That's the time we live in today. So the shutdowns alone cost us $12 trillion. $12 trillion. And if that is not a problem to address, I don't know what is a problem to address. Why? Because we didn't have awareness. There was no clarity in terms of what to do. And everything had to go through a blanket shutdown. And that's not the way the world should function. And there was uncertainty in business continuity because people did not know in terms of SOPs, is my business going to be affected? How do I change my narrative? How do I tell the person out there that the physical world is okay for us to engage with? This is a huge problem because we're all moving to the meta world. Then the other thing is, this pandemic alone, we're not bound by this pandemic, but this pandemic is the catalyst. We started using products that is going to create another pandemic. I mean, 129 billion disposable masks going into the ocean is no good for a population of 7 billion across the world. It's not good. It's not good. That's another pandemic waiting to happen. And we're already in the global, climate warming and climate change issue. That is an enduring issue that's going to be handled over the next 10, 20, 50, even 60 years. The concept of safety tech does not exist, and that's the opportunity for us. So all these problems combined, we said, how do we package all of this, take it back to the root cause of the lifestyle issue, and tell people, if you do all these are the solutions we offer, you will live in a breakdown-free world. Now, for all of this to happen, you have to induce positive customer behavior change, and that's exactly the 4 pillars of My. When you look at a problem, you will try to come up with a solution that is innovative that is very simple to adopt. If you come up with something that involves spaceships and rockets all the time, it's not simple. It's not going to take off. It won't be easy to scale. And so it has to be innovative. It has to be simple. And the narrative is it has to be sustainable so you're not harming Mother Earth. That's the narrative we live in today, and that's the narrative we're going to live in for the next 20 years. And all of this combined, it has to be scalable, because if it is not large enough to make an impact, then customer behavior change is not going to become the norm. And fortunately for us, these are the 4 pillars of My, and that's exactly what we use to design all our products. So what did we come up with? We came up with something innovative, simple, sustainable, and scalable. And we're calling it My Safe Place. Now imagine the next time you got out of your house, you not only look on Google Maps for the directions to a place, You don't look at the star ratings of a place, but you look at how safe the place is in real time. Now that gives you the confidence to engage with that place. And now let's imagine there are two restaurants, or there are two banks, or there are two offices where one shows the safety score in real time and the other doesn't. Peer pressure is always going to say, listen, I'm going to go to a place where the information is more available rather than a place where I have to take the risk. Known devil, unknown angel. So at this point, my safe place is the world's first real-time, safety monitoring solution that tells you, based on the parameters of the place, as to how safe the place is. Now, like I said, it is not a pathogen issue we are enduring. It is a lifestyle issue, right? And the pathogens are going to keep changing. It's not about COVID. It's not about Movid, Jovid, 2025 version of COVID. No. All the parameters for any pathogen and any contagious spread uses the same parameters: touch, air, certain other parameters. So we said, like in the army, if you want to get across, a missile from A to B, it has to be able to transport. It has to be able to move. What if we break the logistics, break the bridges, monitor the quality of the bridge, monitor if the bridge is going to carry it from A to B?
How this will come?
Okay, good. So now, in this case is how we said my safe place is going to monitor all of these, and this is a combination of IoT devices and our platform. Now it monitors in real time the sanitation frequency of a place. What you're looking at is what the customer who avails our subscription service would be using to monitor the place. In parameters, which is about 7 different parameters in air quality, like temperature, humidity, PM 2.5, other pathogen counts, and then it has got TBOC, but it's got all the other parameters that are conducive to the spread of a pathogen from A to B. Then it monitors the kind of people present in the place. I mean, are there 20 people in a 10 people capacity place without being intrusive? All of this gives you results like the viral survivability, the immune system health, carbon dosage, and we also monitor energy. Now, the future thing is all about sustainability, and we are keeping that as phase 2. So it monitors all these different parameters and tells you in real time, is it conducive for the spread of a pathogen or not? Is it safe for you? Is it well for you? And safety and wellness are not the same things. Safety is the ability to, feel, safe. There is no penetration. Wellness is feeling good, right? So all these studies took us about 1.5 years. And that is all that went into my, because from 2020, coming to where we are, we wanted to communicate this to the customer, the consumer, in a very simple sense. Is it unsafe or is it safe? So the next time you walk into a place, you might just scan the QR code and say, hey, what's the safety rating of a place? Or you might pick up your Google or your Alexa or your Siri and say, how safe is the True Digital office today? And you get a real-time metric, putting the onus on the customer to maintain the safety standards of the place. Lifestyles change. So this increases confidence in consumers. The government is happy because you're following, tried and tested and approved methodologies. And we've gone through various stages of testing with the government too, right? Employers are happy. Employees are happy. Breakdown is a part of the distance pass. So this is what consumer views is like. And how do we do this? So, for example, you call us and you say, Kevin, I have 20 classrooms in a college where students are not going to come back unless and until they feel the safety standards of the place is good. We come by. We just test it using our simple tested methodology, and we set up the simple SOPs for the place. We then install our IoT devices, which one device can monitor up to 1,000 to 1,500 square feet based on the structure and the layout of the rooms. And we install one device, which is completely free if you take our subscription. This monitors all the parameters and it gives you a real-time score. You also feed in certain sanitation frequency information that is manually fed. And if at all there is, a large-scale pathogen spread, which, the parameters, sort of detect, there is auto-sanitation using our ionizer methodology. And on top of all of this, with the data we get, we can give you a lot more insights that can improve the quality of the place. So like the outside world that is measured for all the pollution out there, consider us the full-time package, the full-time suite to remain safe and well, from your classrooms to your flights, to your train cabins, to your buses, to anything and everything. Now, we intend to build a model where we are able to publish all of this in common platforms like Google Maps and any other common marketplace platforms. We intend to make sure that these are available through QR codes because the brand My gets along with anything. We call True Digital My True Digital, and you wouldn't be offended. You would only feel a sense of ownership with that, and the brand is half the story, right? And you can see all of this through the My app too, and which is a lot of customer acquisition for us as people keep looking to our information to take decisions to engage in the physical world. Now, of course, the hope is, cinema theaters, you name it, schools, offices, everybody. And we, on a map someday, every place that is marked as My Safe Place would look like that. The green showing the real-time good ones and the red ones giving enough time to the customers to improve the safety of the place. Now, all of this needs to make sense in the business world. And we were very clear about addressable market, the total addressable market. It took us 6 months to arrive at the total addressable market. I am just going to zoom in a little into the total addressable market for you. And my apologies on that. Okay. Now, as you can see, it comprises of organized restaurants. And organized restaurants only 7% of the total restaurant space in India. Schools, colleges, grade A offices, hotel rooms, gyms, any place that has public interaction and requires public confidence to engage with a place. That is what makes up our total addressable market. And annualized, you can do 27 million subscriptions in India alone, which puts us with an average subscription value of about 2,000 rupees at 8 billion USD, rounded off, of course. Right? Now, how do we make our money? If you are a household and you just want to buy the device to just, know the parameters of the place, device sales. But if you are an organization that wants to display your information onto public platforms to gauge public confidence and keep them coming because the norm is going to be My Safe Place, monthly subscriptions, then we can give you value-added services as we learn through this entire process ourselves because data is the key. Now, all of this should make sense. So in an annualized opportunity of 27 million subscriptions, we are looking at, and forgive me for the zoom in every now and then because I think it will keep the focus on what we need to keep it on. We hope to win 100,000 customers at least in the first year. And that would give us a revenue of 92.25 crores. And with a gross profit, including everything, we're hoping is 28.63. Now, double it to 300, triple it to 300,000 in the second year with the market penetration being high, and in the third is 600,000, and from there, if we're able to quadruple. So as we reach 600,000 subscriptions in the third year, you're looking at a gross of 608 crores. Now, the Google ratings took quite some time to take off. It took about a year or two because it's, public fed. But when such information that is auto-fed and public-fed comes in, it takes off sooner, and studies have shown that. So we wouldn't be surprised if we reach that 600,000 in the first year too, because we've made 350 customer presentations in the last 4 to 5 months, trying to gauge the market opportunity for us. And that has taught us that we have 30,000 rooms, 30,000 subscriptions that are ready to take off as we go to the market. Now, in phase 2, we intend to launch our carbon ratings for a place which tells you real-time carbon footprint of the place. So I'd like to give the customer the confidence to say, if I'm a pollutant, the customer may not engage with me, right? The customer needs to have that option, and people love options. You need to support a good cause. So if your place has a good carbon footprint, which is energy divided by the number of people consuming it, maybe the customer would visit your place more than the place that is polluting more. And you'd be forced to take up better measures to enhance the quality of the place. This is in phase 2, and we've already started working on it. Now, what is the competition landscape like? Now, of course, many different companies have targeted one element of what we have put together as a suite. So there is the pathogen deactivators out there. There are sanitation companies that certify their own places. Then there are facility management companies that say, hey, we clean the place, put a sticker onto it. Then there are automation companies that give you some sort of, engagement for the customer. But we've put all of this, the monitoring, the sanitation, the engagement, the brand narrative, the visibility, everything together under the concept of My Safe Place, which comes under My Protection First. So, what does the team look like? For the last year and a half, we've taken, I mean, since 2020, it's almost, I would say it's year and a half to 2 years now. My good investor friend who's acting as a co-founder, and I do majority with his support. He's been kind enough to support the entire cause, the journey, because I come from a business family, and I understand stability is the key for more people to come join us. And we went on and had the good fortune of building a team with people like Akshay, who brings in about 35 years of experience from various different fields, and Nishika Gomes, who's our creative director, who comes in from the fashion background, because fashion is a beautiful narrative to have. And she moved all the way from Bombay to attire to a city like Coimbatore, like, what you guys are promoting. So she believed in the story. And the whole purpose we are here is we want to find believers. And we've shown it that we believe in our product. We believe in the opportunity, and we believe in the whole scalability and sustainability of this. Since 2020, the yellow marking show where we've put the money in ourselves. We've all the earnings we made out of that great trade dabble that Raja and I took, which is very much like the Johnny Walker story. We've launched products like India's first and only activated carbon plus copper mask, and India's first pocket UV sanitizer, which is we sold about. All these products help us survive for the last year and a half. Not only survive, thrive, and build our teams, we launched India's first antiviral suits that can be used for 1 year. Everything is sustainable. And now in Jan, we started off with the ideation in April. All the media came much earlier, but we needed the resources, the brand to be built, everything to be built. And then we put together a team and said, guys, let's build my sick place. And now here we are after 7 crores of investment and months of toil. It's ready. And we have a lot more to build before we go to the market. And our ask is very clearly there for you. It is 21 crores deployable over 1 year in various tranches for us to enhance our team, to be able to build the products and, reach that scale that we're looking for without the strain of, viability in the first few months, because that would give us the confidence. And thanks to you guys for the wonderful opportunity. And thanks to you, Major General Sanjeev Sinha and Mr. Vijay, for letting me go first.
Yeah, it was very wonderful, Kevin. I must say, very well presented. And it's a great idea. If there are any questions from anyone, Kevin is open to the questions, and I'm sure no one can answer them better than Kevin.
Yeah, hi Kevin, Sheetal here.
Hi, Sheetal.
I just had one query. You said that there are multiple competitors, but then they are all handling single or individual facets of the business, and you have just aggregated everything together and you've given a clear picture. That was your basic pitch, correct?
No, so the aggregators, the multiple other competition have looked at one element, and they haven't thought about, let's say there are elements like light, which acts as a good antidote. So it's not about just aggregating all of that. There are elements that we're missing. So we learn from all their mistakes too, because all of these exist in different capacities in our real-time world right now. But we've built a very different package that gives you a very different narrative and, a clearer solution.
So who technically would be your top 3 competitors who can also learn similar to you?
I would go after the major companies because they have the money. And what we did about a year and a half, they might do it in a year. But we've got a year and a half an advantage, I would say that. 2 is certification companies of scale, which are certifying places with so they can eat into our market share, but for them to catch up, it's going to take another year. So in all sense, I would say these 2. The others, I don't see them as large-scale competition as we go into the market.
And what do you think is one weakness that you have currently, which probably someone else can, if you don't address it ASAP, it will be a problem for you?
Pace.
And that's why you need the funding so that you can establish a faster pace.
Absolutely.
Great. Kevin, a wonderful product, yeah. I mean, I would love to reach out to you individually also. We will surely talk.
Lovely. That's very kind of you. Thanks a lot for that, Sheetal.
Kevin, there's only one issue that your ask didn't come out clearly, and then how much is your stake and what are the different stakes? Whoever are the stakeholders, what is the percentage of stake? This is all very important for people to know that. And what is your, how much would you like to dilute? All these 3-4 things, if you come out.
Sure, sir. So I thought the valuation bit was going to be very subjective to the different asks that might come from the room itself. So I didn't want to talk about that right now, but I made it clear as to what we've put into this. And Raja and he's contributed 50% and I contributed 50%. And that's what has given us the liberty to go so far. But in every essence, all my team are stakeholders, there's no doubt. They've contributed their months of work into this. But in terms of absolute financial control, it is held by two people. And that's why we had the pace for the last year and a half to come up to the speed with our creativity. Now, any other question that is very specific in terms of financials, we're happy to dive further into it because I think it might vary some. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. Absolutely. But I thought if
Thanks
you
a
could
lot,
make
Vijay.
it, if you could bring it out in the call, it would be important for some people to know that.
And in the last year and a half, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, please finish it up. Please finish up.
In the last year and a half, our products have clocked in about 3 crores of business, only from the product space. So that should also give you the ability of the brand presence in the market. I'm sure with more marketing expenditure, more visibility, we could have created a larger dent. And most of our customers are repeat customers at this point. And I don't have a percentage to tell you, but I can give you a percentage if asked for the same.
Okay, Kevin, it's a pretty very interesting presentation. As a product, it sounds really good. Quite, as you have rightly said, it is pretty innovative. Appears quite simple. I have a couple of queries about that. And you said you mentioned about parameters, and the parameters applicable to a household and parameters applicable to an say classroom or office room. Are they different, or you apply the same parameters?
So, sir, we've classified them broadly under 3 sectors. One is a clinical parameter would be very different to a normal parameter. And a clinical parameter, that's why we didn't put the hospitals as one of our TAMs. Because their market is completely different to the lifestyle market that we're looking at, because there could be a mandate in their space. In the home space, very much the parameters would be as similar to that of a common space, but then you're not letting too many outsiders in. So what you want to look out for over there would be very different to what you would look in a common space. In a common space, we're only looking at the fundamentals that remain. It's that logistics that helps the comfortable transmission of any contamination. Could be a pathogen, could be anything. And those parameters largely, to our epidemiologists and virologists that we've used and developed this product with, they largely remain the same.
Okay. Then coming to the financing model, you mentioned that the Raja, you're the co-founder, and both of you have 50% stakes each other. But at the same time, you have some other stakeholders. Do they have any? Do they have any stake in terms of investment in this project?
Not at all, sir. Not at all.
Not at all.
In financial terms, none at all. But in terms of every ownership of the product, I have to give credit to them.
Okay. So that means, if I have understood it correctly, in terms of equity, both of you are 50-50.
Yes, sir.
In terms
No
of
confusion there. Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
no confusion there. Have you now, Kevin? Have you received any funding so far from any investor?
Not at all, sir. We started our funding talks only last month as soon as we got some of our product approvals. We didn't want to go into the market until then. So we are in multiple, talks with, different, prospective investors in very different levels. And that was one of the reasons we outreach to, True Digital, and then we had the opportunity to come onto this platform very quickly.
Okay. And if I may ask you, suppose if you are, you'll be making, presenting your pitch deck to different investors. What is your immediate investment, required investment?
Absolutely, sir.
And then given a choice, how much you would pitch in for?
Sure, sir. So the 3 million ask is for a spread of a year to make sure that we are viable and sustainable, and we can go with the one thing that we lack is space. So that's the whole reason we're asking for our 3 mil. But with 1 to 1.2 mil, we should be able to go to the market in the near future.
1 to 1.2 million.
Million USD, we should be able to hit the market in the near future.
Okay.
But then again, we would need the other remaining funds to enhance our market presence and our marketing progress and every other thing.
Okay. So as of now, how much cash you have in to sustain the operations? I mean,
So from
you may not tell me the amount. You can only tell me how much cash you have to sustain the operations as of now. I'm really not interested to know how much cash, because I mean, we need to be very clear whether it is a cash burn model. I mean, I hope you understand that. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely, sir.
yeah.
So
Mm.
the reason we started selling our products is to make sure that we don't have the cash burn model as our
Yeah.
philosophy.
Mm.
And the reason we put in our own money to get us to this point is to
Yeah.
prove that we're not here for the cash burn. And
Yes.
there are two spirits in me. One is the entrepreneur that kickstarts a journey, and the businessman that sustains the journey. So the businessman
Mm.
understands cash burn is not a good thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
So
we
cash
have
burn is never a good model. Cash burn is never a good model, to be very candid with you. So, I mean, with whatever cash you have put in, you and your partner, how long you can sustain with the cash available to you? I
with
mean, in
product, I
terms
would
of,
say.
to cover all the activities relating to, your product.
So we can look at another 4 months with the
4 months.
current teams, but we're looking at growing our team. So which means this is
Okay.
not what we
So
want to be at.
as of now, with the available cash, you can sustain for 4 months, and the
Correct, sir.
$1.2 million USD that you are looking to raise, that would provide you breathing space for another 1 year,
So it will provide us breathing space for another 4 to 6 months because the
another
team will
six
grow.
months, another
It'll
6 months.
grow.
That will,
Yes, sir.
since you are in a growth phase, that would not only give you sustenance in terms of growth, but also in increasing the size of your team, if I have understood it correctly, right?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Right.
Because we need to be able to scale our team with more resources that are necessary for the blind spots.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we've got the core product ready, but we need to build all the other platforms that are necessary.
Okay. Anyway, I'll get details about the project and the product through Sanjeev. I think
Thank you, sir.
with you will get in touch with you on a standalone basis. And the last thing that I would like to ask you: any threat in terms of any threat to the product that you have developed, in terms of either competition or in terms of vulnerability in innovation. Do you foresee any threat to your project or product?
So the early stages, the threat we thought was the government space to give any approvals.
Mm.
That was my earliest threat. But
Mm.
thanks to Akshay, our CEO, they've taken care of that blind spot. An entire team has been handling that. And
Mm.
we've gone past all the basic stages, and they are not a threat anymore. And I think
So the
the
valley of
government will
death you have already crossed,
that
right?
that is the that's the first valley of death. I'm sure there will be many more as the market grows.
Any, so Akshay is your co-partner in this, eh? You yourself and Akshay?
Akshay is our CEO, sir. He's our chief operating
Akshay is
officer.
your CEO. And
Yes, sir.
who is, in terms of co-founder, who is the other co-founder? What's his name?
Sir, Mr. Raja. Raja is an investor co-founder, sir. So he
So he's
plays
an investor.
majority of
So
it.
Raja, Kavin, and Akshay. This is the
And
triology that we have established as far as this project is concerned.
I would put more people into that list, but I'm sure our creative director is also here. So yes,
Okay.
we need it from the front.
There will be obviously many more people. Anyway, wish you great going. I think I
Thank you,
have
sir.
some clarity about the overall scheme of things. Thank you.
And
Thanks a lot for
one
asking all the
question
questions, sir.
from my side, Kevin. How are
Yes,
you
sir.
acquiring customers in terms of are you going? Right now you are in Coimbatore, and how is it that you're supplying? What is the region? Whole India? How is it the whole process now?
So, Sanjeev, the story about me reaching out to, my reaching out to about 350 customers is pan-India.
Okay.
We've also gauged the international markets, but we're not in a hurry because we know the Indian appetite is large enough to, catapult us to any industry, any country we want to go into. So, having said that, the whole Indian market is our, that's where the TAM comes from. And the TAM quite literally shows that we're looking at pan-India. Now, Coimbatore, because it's where the electronic EMC hub is very much available for us, and that's why we started there. But our teams are Akshay is from Bangalore. We've got creative support coming in from Mumbai. Our virologists and epidemiologists are from Hyderabad. Our IT team sits in Chennai. So, we are are the true digital startup, if you can call us that, in every sense, right? So that's what we are.
And are you selling directly from the website, or are you on Amazon and or other channels as well?
So if this is our site is called myprotection.in. Our products are available on all the other platforms too. And as you can see from our simplicity, we are very clear about everything that we sell. We are honest about it. We even put every single explanation.
Do you have a breakup between the online directly from your website and through Amazon or whatever channels that you're using?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So about 60% of our volume is coming from our direct marketing itself.
Okay.
And only 40% is coming from e-marketplaces and the omni channels.
And what's the burn on what's
retail.
the burn on the marketing through your channel?
So the customer
I mean,
acquisition
as a
cost is
proportion
pretty
of
high.
the total sale. I don't want the number.
Yeah, no, I said the customer acquisition cost is pretty high at this point, but with repeat customers coming back for our products, I think the numbers are coming down. I can give you in principle, but I wouldn't know in percentages right now.
All right.
But we'd be happy to share them with you. And we have metrics for all of that.
All right, perfect. So that was very nice, good presentation.
Sorry.
Go ahead, sir.
One thing I forgot to ask: how strong is your team as of now? How big is the team?
So in full-time capacity, we have about 12 people. In freelancing and consulting and part-time capacity, we have more than 40 people.
More than 40. Okay, that's it.
All right, good. Thank you very much. Digvijay sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kevin and Akshay. I must say it was a wonderful presentation. Let's have Mr. Vijay Shiragupal from the Technocarbon Technologies. Mr. Vijay, are you ready with it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Over to you, Vijay ji.
Yeah. I'm a mechanical engineer with 30 plus years experience, and I have been working in the environment field for the past 20 years, and trying to do waste management and so many things. But more important, when I came across this particular material in 2008 in Salon, it was under development, and we felt that this is a product that will help us in the future. And the current scenario, especially after the Congress of Parties in 2026 held in Glasgow, the climate and environmental destruction, climate change has been in the forefront and billions of dollars are coming. And we've been trying to bring this project to India since 2018-19 when we got all our patents in. So to just address what is the problem that we are trying, next slide please. We are trying to use the nature itself to build a product that is very low in carbon. So if we know that pollution is a big issue, polluting material like coal, fossils, and all are on the decline, but they also polluted a lot, and we are facing the consequences of it. And our next generation also will face a bigger consequence. Renewable energy is just one part of the solution, but not the total solution. And housing infrastructure and transportation also cause huge pollution, right from the mine pit to the production part, and also they over a period of time they rust and they continue to decline, or the quality of the product goes down. Uh, and today the economy also is down. So every country in this world, if they adopt the particular next slide, the particular type of building material that can be used in their houses, we can collectively improve our climate. Collectively, we can build our housing. I will show you this. So these are the things that I told you with renewable energy, solar, wind, and now as of now there is a huge amount of solar panels, wind blades, all being discarded, and we don't know what to do with it. So this product also comes useful in this. Next slide, please, Sanju. So the question comes is, what if we're able to replace steel, concrete, aluminum, fossils, oil and coal? I'm not saying entirely replace, because that would be a straightforward catastrophe or destructive for the entire economy. But over a period of time, if we adopt this particular technology and using nature itself, we can do this. And this product has been already developed. Okay, now we need to go commercial. Next slide, please. So as I told you, the solution that we have, it is called as carbon fiber stone, okay, which is the material of the 20th century. And I will show you applications that if implemented across sectors, what all you can do. And moreover, this makes even the material, as I told you, to be made from stone. Okay, it is a composite. Next slide, please. Okay, as I told you, it's a new composite. It is already being done in Germany and France and in some parts of Italy, but it is only on a small scale basis. Sorry. Application industry sectors are construction, infrastructure, transportation, aviation. Many sectors are there applicable in this. Next slide, please. Yeah, as I said, carbon fiber is not new. It has been made and it replaces it with the mixed roller material as a composite. It becomes much lighter so that we can travel much longer and much higher and all that. So it is being primarily used in the space aviation technology and possibly in Mr. Sanjeev Sinha's Mercedes badge. So it is no, go back. Please go back. See, we have been making this carbon fiber using fossil fuel, and it's a very polluting material, and it's very expensive. But we have the patent now to make the same fiber using algae oil. Okay, we have already obtained the patent in US, China, India, European Union, and already there has been a spend of about $8 million, some given by the university as a grant, some by us, that is the promoter there. We have established the port. The sale of this product is going on in Germany for the last few years to the tune of 200 to 3,000 euros per year. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the process. If you want, I can explain. This is the algae, and from here, down you come to make it oil. From oil, you make it into thread. From thread, you carbonize it, and then, like any of our shirt and all, we can weave it and use it. And when we combine it stone, it becomes carbon fiber stone. Yes, please, next. So if you can see this application segments, construction, infrastructure, building and bridges, we can do with the stone. Transportation, automotive, the frames will become much lighter and much more fuel efficient compared to bodies built by steel. Trains, inside of the train, our the dirty toilets that we have, you can do it with carbon fiber stone. Easy to clean, lighter and long lasting. Even bodies. And we have also can make railway sleepers because they have been tested to European standard more than 3 times the safe working load. Aviation, I already told you. Solar panel frames can be made with it, which will not rust. And greenhouse applications. Wind turbine blades, they are more strong. I'll explain more in the next slide. So, better than me speaking, the picture speaks. So, we see here a rusting steel beam, which is, as you know, over a period of time will rust. But we have a double T beam made of granite stone, which is 50% less weight than the current steel beam and 50% more stronger, more durable than the steel. Next slide, please. As I told you, it is 50% less performance, and it is a 6.4 meters length with one joint in between. Next slide, please. So when we make a CFS wall about 1 meter in width and about 3 meters in depth, cut into the granite, you can see we don't need in future any brick, sand, plaster painting. Granite, cheaper granite can do, and can carry a weight of three floors. Okay, it is waterproof, no maintenance. Even if you put it in heavy structures, long, big structure, the structural strength only will come down. It saves time, pain, and reduces a lot of pollution in terms of the sand mafia, other thing, fossil fuel like paints and all that. Next slide, please. Even it is flexible, so it means it's an earthquake-proof material. This is the real photo that is there, which is a frame of a wall. Next slide, please. This is again a safe as granite rod. It is flexible. So stone has become made flexible using carbon fiber. Next slide, please. Okay, as I told you about wind blades, now we have won an award in December 2021 where it replaces 60% of the steel in the wind blade and it makes it more lighter so the efficiency of the wind blade also goes up. Okay. And it is long lasting and even after it breaks down or thing, it can be used in other areas of infrastructure. That's like as I told you, the railway sleepers, they are 2 times longer than Congress sleepers. Currently, it is costly, but when we make it in long, in commercial scale, it becomes cheaper, and that too, European costs, you know, the labor cost and everything is pretty high, and they don't have the granite also, they have to import it. And it is already meets Deutsche Bahn standards. The trials are on in Germany. Yeah, it's so when we go to a building, if you say the walls are made of carbon fiber stone, the support structure is there, the flooring, the roof cladding, cupboards, dining table, kitchen tops, etc. Entire 60 to 70% is built with granite, carbon fiber stone, granite, and even remaining the granite waste material too. So we are making use of the granite waste also. Next slide, please. So this is a bathroom where we have also combined with the glass. Okay. This is a bathroom as an example made with carbon fiber stone. Next slide, please. It is being used in Marriott and Zurich for the elevator flooring, and this is the dining table which is made of this. Next slide. This is a snow tree made of Vijay Spada, which is one of the world's renowned ski makers. And it is now imagine when it is made with stone and carbon fiber. Imagine the dynamic load it takes, the abrasion it takes when when you're skiing France. Please, next slide. This is an example of a carbon fiber stone made from algae oil. Okay, they have made the pad here. The lady is using it in one of the universities. This is all under is already made in there. The TUM is a technical university of Munich. So there are a lot of partners in this in doing this research. Next step, please. So we are Europe, as I told you, Techno Carbon Technologies from Germany. It's a very, very small company having its R&D and all that thing in Munich. And they've been developing it over a period of 12 years. And it's a lot of patience. Uh, they're also working in another company called Clean Carbon Technology, where even Mercedes-Benz is there, Airbus is there, where they're working together. They are doing their part using metal, we are doing our part using stone. Okay, and they have been given a grant also. I have been representing them to over the last period of 10 years, following it up, giving market feedback, so many other issues. And we intend to do what we intend to do. I'll tell you next, please. Next, please. Okay. As I told you, I've already have told about me. So I'm engineer with 30 years experience, 20 years in environmental. Please. Okay. Why is this project very specifically attractive to India? This project is attractive to India because we have sun, stone, seawater. Seawater because we make algae in the sea. And then we have desert where we have got enough solar light. And carbon dioxide, of course, is everywhere in the world. So these are almost free resources and like sunlight, carbon dioxide, salt water is free. So you can use that in this to your advantage in terms of making this production commercially. Rural land is available, stone is available. There are many granite plants which have gone bankrupt because of this government policy and environment. They are now going for very cheap price. So you can build a project on this with a very very low spend. Yeah. Next slide, please. So this is a global project. As I said, Africa tomorrow, as we are talking about circular economy, circular economy. Tomorrow, Africa as a circular country can build it for its own building network. Australia can do it, but some countries like Europe can't do because it's very expensive and they don't have much of sun. Uh, and there is no competition yet. It is being made commercially in Germany and being sold. And it is the first more if we make it in India. And you can just imagine the demand in every sector that I have shown you, particularly housing sector, which contributes almost 40% of the global emissions. Okay. Next slide, please. What we need, we are poor people. Simple as that. We have spent money earlier, and we need to conduct, especially we need to conduct a detailed project. I'm looking for funding, but beyond funding, I'm looking for a strategic co-founder and investor who could understand, who could visualize the potential of this over a bit of time and make it a global project. And that is where I'm looking at it. And if you start with a simple detailed project report, we have done some small work on that, but it is expensive and a single person can't do. So I'm looking for a team of people, industrialists, investors who can form a team, mentor me, mentor the mentorers, and the German company will come and give the technology. We will work together. We have to make this is the first start before I can make any pitch. So this is not the. I estimate approximately 1 million euro. Now, why is that 1 million euro? There are two aspects to it. One is about maybe 300,000 euro for the first project, that is the carbon fiber stone directly, and the second backward integration of making carbon fiber itself in India. Carbon fiber alone has a big global demand and can be used with the stone on the metal. And carbon fiber we has to be a new project that carbon fiber stone is easy to do. So the spend is little there. We can also do it in three phases, two phases. That is one is carbon fiber stone, and I'll show you what is a carbon fiber stone. So here is the look of a carbon fiber stone. This side is the carbon fiber, and this side is the stone. And we can drill it into it like any other metal or anything. We can drill into it and make it. So this is the thing. This is again both side stone. In between there is carbon fiber. Both side stone is there. And here stone is in the middle and both sides. So it all depends upon various applications that we have. So my ask is what we need is basically to uh, have a detailed project report will be. So as I said, I just don't want an investor. I want a strategic investor. Any industrialist can come and do this because many of them are investing now in green energy, sodium, lithium batteries, and all that. So those are the companies, environmentally focused companies, can look at this and work with us. And what we will give, we will give them majority. We don't want to be owners of this. We can have a little bit stake. They, the partner will own who invest will own the maximum shareholding, and but he's going to invest and he will run the business. We handhold him till certain stage to make it working, and then we go. So, as I told you, we are technocrats and not savvy with other standard stuff in a pitch deck from the financial market. We need to work with it. And the project report is the first place to start. Okay? And as we know, we are all running out of time and we are all in the same boat. And I hope, somebody comes forward. These are my contact details. And yes, any, yes, sir. These are all
Yeah.
statements. Okay, I am through with my presentation because I focus mainly on photos and what I want. Yeah, I'm ready for questions.
Yeah. Any questions, please?
Hi, Sheetal here, sir. Very interesting presentation, interesting product, and I've had some experience working with clean tech earlier.
Mhm.
So I think it's a very good idea. One major concern or one thing that I wanted to understand is you had an emphasis on uh, being always a smaller stakeholder. Is that anything that is specific to your idea behind the brand, or I mean, just because you feel that you are more in the technology part and you feel that business should be held and run by someone else? Why is this?
See, first of all, the investors, the strategic investors who sees value in this, who sees the future vision in this, is going to invest all the money. We are going to come only with our technology and handhold it, and maybe work along with it. So we will take a very small stake. Of course, apart from the license fees and all that, which we need to discuss, that comes at a later stage once we do a detailed project. So we are wanting the person who's going to invest the major of the almost 99% of the investment. He has to be the stakeholder.
But doesn't the technology that drives the business actually is the one that generates the revenue? I mean, that's for some reason I think it might be my personal perspective. Others might differ from me. For me, it gives a very wrong impression that you are going straight forward for the lower stake. I mean, being the one idea, your technology is what is being sold. I don't think an investor should ever get a higher stake. I mean, that's what my personal perspective is. But yes, that's okay.
One piece of advice I have for you, Vijay, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not, investor only gives money, they don't work.
No, that's what I said. Strategic investor, maybe an industrialist, people in the clean tech companies who are willing to, upspend, upfront
So,
spend on it to know what it is.
yeah, yeah, I
At
got
least
it.
let them clarify it to themselves.
Yeah, so
Anybody
I
will go
had a
marketing.
presentation last time with one builder.
Yeah,
If you remember Gopinathan from Coimbatore,
yeah.
maybe he can use your materials, as a pilot and build some villas, because that's what you're proposing, right? I mean, it will replace. You can have
So,
even in the interior, you can make those nice interiors, bathroom and glass and all that. And if
yeah,
it
he can.
I see two problems, and hear me out, please. So one is that, of course, the exterior part of the building, and then there is the interior part. Now, my question to you, very simple question: the European price is going to be higher, right? So, how are you going to get? Are you producing? You're not producing in India, right? Because you're asking everything right now from us in terms of setting up a factory and building it, and then whole India demand, or at least you starting from Belgaum, maybe Bangalore. What's your plan? I mean, you got to have some roadmap, some thinking that would have gone into it, even if the investor wants to come in. You may want to share that.
Yeah. If anybody wants to do a trial run or see it, they can confirm for themselves. Number one. Number two, if as you said, if you make it in Europe, it is very very expensive, and that itself becomes. But it has got a history of reputation. The product which is being sold for the last 4 5 years. So the idea is to bring it to India and start it. So when we want to bring it to India and start it, we have to have the technology, the material, the machinery, and everything. So when we are going for that, by itself is again an investment. So it has to be the strategic investors who are already into this field, because then they have some furnaces, they'll have some cutting material and all that. So that will reduce their cost of investment.
All right. I get what you're saying. Somebody who is already running a steel factory or whatever, furnace and all that, and he might look it as an opportunity to move to granite
Diversify,
slash CFS.
value addition, diversify,
Okay.
and also anybody will definitely invest some spend on trying to get convinced that this is a product that needs to be checked out. Whether we start a rice mill or whatever industry, we do a study first. So that is what is required to be studied. That is what one can have to invest. They will definitely invest. I'm not
So,
looking like a financial investor as such, because they will only invest. I'm looking for a strategic so
Partner.
partner. That is where why I came on to the pitch tech is you will have links to those industries. The venture capital will also advise some industries. Look, this is a product here. You can go and try it out. So that is the first step that we have to do.
but you're still at the,
Vijay,
the DPR stage, Mr. Vijay. You
Yes,
still,
sir.
you said that I have not even made you are not through with your
Vijay,
DPR as yet.
no, that is the reason we require money. We don't have the money. We are a very, very small company, and I'm as an individual trying. That's why I'm trying to get a strategic
So
partner
here
who
is my
will
question. I
participate.
think Dukhabandhu sir wants to ask questions. So let him ask, then I will ask again.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Vijayji, this is definitely a path-breaking concept.
Yes.
But I have heard both Mr. Seetal and also Mr. Sanjeev, and to an extent, I'm inclined to to agree with both of them that the detailed project report is not yet ready. And with your background of more than 3 decades as a technical expert, you will be providing the technical know-how, and you are obviously searching for a strategic investor who would be doing the, I mean, with majority stakeholding, would be doing most part of the investment. See, I have come across, in fact, I am not going into details, but I have come across quite a few projects both in my previous assignment and also I have seen also during my banking career that people with expertise like you who develop a project and maybe due to dearth of capital they depend upon a strategic investor by seeding them majority stake in the investment. It creates a bit of a problem not only in the short term but also in the medium term, because ultimately you provide the technology and or you provide the technical know-how, and the very success of the project would depend upon your knowledge sharing, because the general see the strategic investor, he would come with money. Other than money he has nothing. So it's my humble feeling is that when the detailed project report is yet to be made and the project viability is yet to be established, it may not be, it may be advisable not to, convey a sense that, look, I think strategic advisors should come and take over the project with a majority investment, because that may not create also, that may create a bit of a confusion in the minds of the strategic investor that you lack interest in the project. It's a different thing that you are making whatever small investment you have made, but on the psychological part of it, it would create a confusion that maybe Mr. Vijay, despite his robust background, he is not very much keen to continue with the project.
No, we'll
He is
continue.
very no, that goes without saying. But
I take your advice very
markets are guided by sentiments. What you feel is important, but what is the perception outside, that is more important.
Correct.
People may feel that being the patent holder, Mr. Vijay is more concerned about his license fee. You understand? So
yes.
my point is, since you have already, the child is already born, and your requirement also, you have said 1 million euro, say maybe 2 million, 2.5 million USD. So I think you can at the initial stage, you can mobilize the funds through proper pitch deck presentation to different investors. Mobilize the money, make the detailed DPR, make and proof and tell the outside ecosystem that yes, it is a viable model, bankable model, scalable model, it's worth generating revenue, because thereafter only it will generate confidence in the minds of the investors. Here is a product which is scalable and which can generate revenue, which can provide a margin, and that would give you sufficient leeway really to say that, okay, the time has come, probably I can hand over the management of the project or the product to a strategic investor and take a backstage, I think, with whatever is there in your mind. But if you are cultivating an idea that, okay, look, once let a strategic investor come and let him take over the project, let him take over the project with a majority stakeholding, I'm really afraid that you may virtually nipping it in the bud.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
This is my feeling. I'm sorry if
I got your point. In fact, that's a learning curve for me. As you said, the finance front, we are not that. Yes, I think.
No, it is nothing to do with it is nothing to do with finance. Let me tell you, this is only common sense. See, I'll tell you, perception is more important than reality.
Yeah.
What you are perceiving in your mind is immaterial unless or until it is rightly perceived by the outside world.
Correct.
Perception about Mr. Vijay, perception about the project, perception about scalability, viability, indigenization, all these things are very important in the startup ecosystem. Why somebody should be interested in your product if yourself you are not interested in the product?
Maybe I projected it incorrect or wrongly.
These are nuances. See, I'll tell you, Vijayji, with due respect to your expertise, You see, these are all small, small nuances
Yes.
which are picked up by investors very strongly. And they decide in seconds, if not minutes, to go ahead or not to go ahead.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Again, because sentiment and you got my point, no?
I got it. I'll correct
Yeah.
that myself in the next.
Yes, yes. Don't sound pessimistic.
No.
Don't
I
sound.
mean,
I mean, in the sense, it may not be pessimistic, may not be the right word. I mean, it should not tantamount to convey a feeling of that. I mean, there is a withdrawal symptom in the project. No,
No. Correct.
because
Very
understood.
well.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
well. I'll correct myself on that front.
Yes, yes.
I mean,
I
Sanju
think.
had told me a little bit about that. Okay.
Sorry.
Sanju also had told me.
Uh,
I call him Sanju because.
no, I'm very candid. I'm telling you. I'm
Very,
telling
very.
you.
I appreciate.
I'm very, I'm,
I
I'm very,
appreciate that.
I'm very candid. I think
appreciate that.
I'm very candid in my feedback because that's how we can contribute. Once we are candid and frank, transparent, we can contribute to the success of the project, so that course corrections can be made.
Sure. Because I thought, this whatever shareholding and all that will come later. First, let us make the detail.
You should see the dictum always says, the business dictum always says that he who gives money calls the tune. But in a startup, he who provides technology should call the tune. Should call the tune. That is the basic dictum, and you should not be far away from it.
Correct.
You are the boss.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
आपका नाम से मेरा दुख बिता दिया
नहीं because see,
आपने करेक्ट बोला है see at the age of
I'll tell you when I was 24, 26, 27, one young guy from Calcutta, I still remember the name Prem Narayan Poddar.
Yeah.
One of the brightest boys I have ever seen in my life. First class first in class 10, first class first, class 12, first class first in from BITS Pilani, in BTEC, first class first in metallurgy, again from BITS Pilani with BITS Pilani, and did his MS from some reputed in MIT. Sorry, I think it's MIT. But I think he would have been doomed, I'll tell you. And he was coming up with a project, coming up with a product almost, say, close to 32 years ago. A small, I think it was such a sophisticated project, and with 1.5 feet long steel, I mean, product, and the steel used to be imported from UK. He was making almost 15 lakhs rupees. And he used to tell me that if I do at least one or two during a month, then I need not work for another 6 months. I mean, he used to, I had to tell him whether you do one or two, but don't say that to the outside world that I want to do one or two. Otherwise, you will be misunderstood by people.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Very well, good point you taught me, and I should take it positively.
Yes.
Anybody has questions?
Thank you very much.
We are hitting almost 8:30, and just because of the delay,
Yeah,
we
thank
have
you, Mr. Vijay, and thank you so much, Mr. Rath. It was, a
And,
great, wonderful